There's another tool I want to talk about that's really quite popular and for good reason. It's called Jupyter Notebook. And what it does is it allows you to mix images and text and code all in a single, well, what looks like a document format. Now, it's a interactive editing tool that allows you to not only type in text and hyperlinks and images, etc., but also to put navigation into it. So you can go back to the various different sections. You can put code in here and run it. The code that's ran in one cell is interactive with the code that runs in a different cell. It's so worth checking out, and I definitely encourage you to do so. Now, if you go out to the Jupyter website, there's a bunch of stuff out here that you can use. And one of the cool things is the ability to use your browser. Now, Jupyter Lab is the up and coming replacement for Notebook. I think a lot of people are still using Notebook now, but to tell you the truth, if you get used to using Notebook, changing over to Jupyter Lab is not difficult. It just has some new cool features. But for right now, I'm just recommending you get used to Notebook. It doesn't have as many features, but it's really easy to either use directly from the browser or just download and install. Either way is fine. If you're going to be working with it a lot, like you're going to take on the Python certificate program, I'd recommend getting it installed locally. But it's perfectly fine just to try it out from the website, and that's what I'm going to recommend you do this week. So just come over and click on the classic notebook. You can try the other one later. It will start up a little binder interface for you. Now this will time out if you're not using it directly for a few minutes of time, so you got to keep kind of working on it. But once it gets going, you can play around with it for quite a long time. It's just making a Docker instance so that you have some space on their server. And it's pretty easy. Basically, you come over here and you say, I want to make a new notebook. I want to use Python 3. And you end up with these cells. And in the cell, you can type in code like print. Just as simple as that. You run it and you get your result. Now you can also type in Markdown language that we've learned about. And then I can run that and it converts it over. And I can take this and I can move it down. I can switch it out to all kinds of good stuff. Like, let's see. Okay. Jupyter no longer has special heading cells. Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, because you already got one of these. And so I'm going to go ahead and just cut it. I don't need that. And I can keep going. Now there's all the stuff that we've learned how to do, such as making references and uploading images, are all available from there. And you can import different modules and add on code for that. It's really quite a lot of fun and definitely well worth doing. This example here is using something called Pandas. Pandas is a very popular module. It's free to download, of course. And what it does is it allows you to work with data in a pretty easy format. For example, I might set up a dictionary, and I have lists of values. So this is one column, if you would, and this is a list of values in that column. Here's another column and a list of values in the column. A little bit different than what we've done, but now we put that in there, and we've got what's known as a Python data frame, or Pandas data frame. The Pandas data frame has our values, Bob and Sue, in there. And so you could just try this out. In fact, I'd recommend you do so. So if you would, take a few minutes to test it out. I've got the code right here, It's just a matter of pausing the video and adding that code to a module. Go ahead and pause it, give it a try, and when we come back, I'll go over it. Okay, so I'm trying to do this. I'm going to add that code to the first cell. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back over here. I'm going to make myself a new notebook. And I'm going to change this over to Markdown. And in the very first cell, I'm going to paste that in, and I'll run it. That looks right. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come back and I'm going to get this code. And I'm going to come over and paste that in. It is a code cell. And I'm going to run that. And you can see our result. Now, they add this index, row 0, row 1, etc. automatically. There are ways to remove that. It's a convenient feature because it identifies which row you want to deal with. Just print out row 1. Let's see here. Oh, for the love of Pete. What am I doing wrong here? Give me a second. I had to pause and think about it for a minute. iLock. So the index location. Just put that value in. I get the Sue and join. So it's if you're wondering, it automatically just gives you this index. And I just ask for that. So that's how this Jupyter Notebook thing works. It's definitely some fun to play with. Hopefully you'll give it a chance. Thanks for watching.